The Little Mermaid. Here's where it gets really twisted. The Little Mermaid wasn't just in love with a prince, she was desperate for a human soul. See, mermaids don't have eternal souls. Humans do. She risked everything for something more than romance. She saves the prince from drowning, completely selfless, and begs the sea witch to transform her into a human. But there's a catch. Walking on legs feels like stepping on knives, and every step is excruciating pain. Losing her voice? That's just the start. Just when you think she might get her happy ending? The prince doesn't even love her. He marries another woman, leaving her broken. The sea witch offers a dagger. Kill the prince, return to the sea, survive. But she refuses. And then she dissolves into seafoam. But Andersen wasn't done. A final twist turns her into a daughter of the air, forced to do good deeds for 300 years to finally earn a soul. Pinocchio. From the start, Pinocchio is rotten. He mocks his creator, Geppetto, and even smashes the talking cricket that's trying to guide him. And it only gets worse. He runs away constantly, landing Geppetto in all sorts of trouble. One moment, he's selling his schoolbook just to buy a ticket for a puppet show. Next, he's nearly burned alive and almost fried. Then he falls in with total criminals, the sly fox and cat, and ends up hanging from a tree. At this point, he literally dies. Yup, dies. Readers were horrified, and Collodi had to continue the story because they demanded it. Things keep spiraling. The blue fairy saves him, turns him into a donkey. He nearly drowns, gets swallowed by a monstrous fish. It's one disaster after another. Only after he finally learns sacrifice, obedience, and bravery does he get his reward and become a real boy. The Disney charm? Completely sanitized. The reality? Brutal lessons in pain, risk, and consequences. And if you thought the poisoned apple was the scariest part, brace yourself. The original Snow White is a nightmare. Snow White. The Brothers Grimm didn't pull punches. The jealous queen doesn't just threaten Snow White. She orders the huntsman to carve out her lungs and liver so she can eat them. The huntsman spares her, but the danger doesn't stop there. Snow White hides with the dwarves, but the queen keeps coming. 3 attempts. First, a tight corset to suffocate her, then a poisoned comb, and finally the infamous poisoned apple. When she's seemingly dead, she's placed in a glass coffin. But there's no true love's kiss revival here. A prince simply jostles her, and she wakes up. The queen isn't done. At Snow White's wedding, she tries to kill her again. Justice comes, but in the grim way. The queen is forced to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she dies. Pure terror. Disney's sweet version? That's barely scratching the surface. The original tale is dark, gruesome, and unflinching. And it makes you realize how far they sanitize these stories. You thought a simple curse and a 100-year nap were scary? The original tale is, well, it gets way darker. Sleeping Beauty. Disney makes it sound romantic. The princess is cursed, sleeps for 100 years, the prince wakes her up, and boom, happily ever after. But the original Italian story by Giambattista Basile? This is a whole other nightmare. Princess Talia pricks her finger on a cursed flax spindle and falls unconscious. No magic kisses or warnings here. Her own father abandons her, leaving her to fate. Then a king discovers her while she's still unconscious and essentially takes advantage, gathering what Basile chillingly calls the first fruits of love. She ends up pregnant, giving birth to twins while still asleep. Only when a splinter of flax works its way out does she finally awaken. And the drama doesn't stop. The king's jealous wife tries to kill both Talia and her children. Luckily, the cook intervenes, saving the kids. Eventually, the king punishes the wicked wife, and Talia marries him. What Disney turns into a fairy tale of patience and true love. The original is survival, betrayal, and horrifying twists you'd never expect from a bedtime story. Think Disney's Quasimodo had it rough? Hugo's version will make your heart sink. Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Disney movie tries to soften it. Villains fall, Quasimodo survives, justice prevails. Victor Hugo's original novel, it's brutal and heartbreaking. Quasimodo is abandoned at birth, horribly deformed, and raised by the obsessive Archdeacon Claude Frollo. Frollo lusts after Esmeralda, plotting her execution, while Quasimodo's love for her remains purely platonic. Meanwhile, Esmeralda's heart belongs to Captain Phoebus, a total womanizer. Frollo stabs Phoebus, and Esmeralda is blamed, tortured, and sentenced to death. Quasimodo tries to protect her, hiding her from harm. But Frollo strikes again, and Esmeralda is hanged. In a final act of rage and sorrow, Quasimodo kills Frollo, then vanishes into obscurity. Years later, skeletons are found clutching each other, and implying Quasimodo died with her. The Disney ending of survival and hope? Hugo's tale leaves you with grief, loss, and the harsh reality of obsession and injustice. Think swinging through trees is all fun and games? Tarzan's real story is savage, dark, and surprisingly tragic. Tarzan. Disney turns Tarzan into this heartwarming jungle hero. A boy raised by apes finds love, learns family, and chooses the wild. The original novel by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's a brutal coming-of-age story. Tarzan's aristocratic parents are marooned on a remote African coast. His mother descends into madness and dies. His father is killed by an ape named Kirak. Enter Kala, a grieving ape who adopts the orphaned boy. Tarzan doesn't just survive. He teaches himself to read, masters hunting, and feels intellectually superior to the apes who raised him. But tragedy keeps coming. When hunters kill his adoptive mother, Tarzan takes ruthless revenge, slaughtering the hunters, rivals, and even lions that cross him. He becomes king of the apes, a figure of raw power and authority. Then Jane arrives. Tarzan saves her repeatedly, yet when it comes to love, he sacrifices his fortune and dreams to let her return to civilization. Disney's cuddly hero? Burroughs' Tarzan is violent, brilliant, and deeply conflicted. A king, survivor, and avenger all at once. Disney's Hercules might make you laugh, but the real hero's story is bloody, tragic, and insane. Hercules. Disney's version? Cute baby, destined for Olympus, beats Hades, saves Meg. Simple, fun, feel-good adventure. Greek mythology tells a far darker tale. Heracles, known to us as Hercules, has a life defined by wrath and suffering. Hera, jealous of Zeus's affair, despises him from birth, sending snakes to kill him in his crib, which infant Heracles strangles with ease. That's just the beginning. As an adult, madness strikes him. In a furious frenzy, he kills his own wife, Mir, and their children. To atone, he's sentenced to 12 impossible labors: slay the Nemean lion, defeat the Hydra, clean King Augeas' stables in a single day, and even descend into the underworld to capture Cerberus. Every task pushes him to the limits of mortal endurance, testing strength and wit. Later, his second wife, Deianira, unknowingly poisons him, forcing Heracles to build his own funeral pyre. His mortal body dies, but his divine half ascends to Olympus. A hero forged through suffering, rage, and almost unimaginable challenges. Disney's version might inspire smiles, but the myth leaves you stunned by the sheer darkness and heroism of his life. Think Disney's Cinderella is all sparkle and happy endings? The original tale will make your jaw drop. Cinderella. Disney gives us the ultimate fairy tale. A sweet girl, a magical fairy godmother, a sparkling glass slipper, and a prince who falls in love at first sight. Simple, clean, perfect, right? The Brothers Grimm version? Dark, bloody, and absolutely savage. Cinderella's mother dies early, leaving her in the cruel hands of her stepmother and stepsisters. But instead of a magical intervention right away, Cinderella plants a tree on her mother's grave and prays. Birds drop her enchanted dresses. Not a fairy godmother in sight. She's still abused daily, beaten, and forced to do impossible chores, yet she goes to the ball 3 nights in a row, each time dazzling the prince with her beauty. Here's where it gets gruesome. The stepsisters, desperate to marry the prince, try to mutilate their own feet to fit the slipper, cutting off toes, heels, whatever they can. But the birds that helped Cinderella see through the deception, exposing the gruesome lies. And the final punishment? At the wedding, the same birds peck out the stepsisters' eyes, leaving them blind for life. No magical forgiveness, no happy ever after for them, just brutal justice. Disney cleaned it up, made it sparkle, made it sweet. But the Grimm tale? It's raw, dark, and unforgettable. What would you have done if those birds came after you? Have you ever realized how violent some classic fairy tales really are? So yeah, the stories you grew up loving, they weren't really made for kids in the first place. And if you thought these were disturbing, just wait till you see what's coming next. So, what's your take on this? Drop it in the comments and hit like and subscribe. There's a lot more coming.